Major news broke this weekend with the Biden family announcing that former President Biden has been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and unfortunately, it has metastasized into his bone and doesn't look great.
No, bone cancer is not curable. I have an uncle, same situation. And then a very good friend, her husband, same exact situation. My uncle has lived with this though for at least 4 years in terms of it like spreading to his bones and having to kind of deal with that. And my friend, her husband he just found out it metastasized to his bone in January, beginning of February. He had been previously diagnosed with prostate cancer. It was in remission. Same thing with my uncle, in remission. And then when it came back with a vengeance. And when it came back, literally, they were like, it's back and it's metastasized. And it was just like that. Just like that.
It breaks my heart. Obviously, my family has been very closely touched by cancer. Watching how people are reacting is almost maddening to me, to be perfectly honest, because some of these people just, well, how long have they known? And then, well, they were hiding it and da 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 da. And it's like, why do we have to focus on this part right now?
I hate to say it's the nature of people. It's the nature of people.
Yeah.
People are always going to do that. But I also think people tend to not believe, or they want to assume like, oh, they knew all along, instead of maybe believing, hey, this thing could have come on and changed in the blink of an eye. Because I really do think about my really good friend, her husband came back out of remission, and there it was. It wasn't years. He had been in remission. He had been doing very well. And now his life has changed tremendously.
Yeah. Well, and I find it interesting. So, for a number of years, I've followed, and don't ask me why. I don't totally remember how I found her, but she's a urologist. And so she was like, as a board certified urologist, I can tell you that these things can happen, especially considering the fact that they don't tend to test for prostate or colon past 70. So,
They don't. My godmother has been told she no longer needs a colonoscopy because she's in her early 80s.
yeah. Now they still do
Absolutely.
my dad's because
History.
right.
Absolutely.
But like when you're dealing with one of these forms of cancer that they stop really looking at, because what are you really going to do about it at that age, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't understand why this has to be so hard for some people, because now, you know what the right is doing? The right is saying, well, he said he had cancer back in 20, I don't, but he also was diagnosed with basal cell, and they removed it, like, because a lot of people have skin, you know what I mean? And so that is supposedly where the right is pulling this clip, and he's speaking about how cancer touches almost everyone's lives, right? And they're trying to say, look, he knew he had this back then. And it's like, I don't understand how you don't understand that you can have multiple forms of cancer. My grandmother was diagnosed with like 3 or 4 different types of cancer throughout her life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then I always thought that Eric was the dumbest Trump child. He's claiming it was sarcasm, but why are we using sarcasm at a moment like this then?
Because it wasn't. It was not sarcasm. It was intentional. We don't have any respect for humankind anymore. We lost it. No empathy, no nothing.
Speaking to that, I was not very kind when I looked at his video, and I was like, who is going to take this guy's... He looked
Allegedly.
not sober in this video.
Yeah.
He's like,
Add that to the charges.
he just looks cracked out.
Allegedly.
So that is just fun. And then going along that, you know what I found really interesting? My bestie, I have yet to hear her tweet, comment, anything that she sends her well wishes.
She's not going to.
But she's a Christian.
Child, look, you believe that?
No.
Look,
No, that actually was sarcasm.
Listen, the right pretends to be the moral majority. I heard someone say they're not pro-life, they're pro-birth.
Yeah.
Because once the kids get here, they don't give a crap about them.
We've been saying that on Twitter for years because it's true. They don't give flying fuck once the kid is there. I mean, they're trying to say that they do now with their big bill, big, beautiful bill.
Please, spare me. How you gonna say you care when you're cutting Medicare and Medicaid? Most importantly, Medicaid, which covers a whole bunch of people under the umbrella of Medicaid. Folks on SSI, special needs children, a wide variety of things. They don't care. They don't really care.
And they're trying to say they're not. Well, and you know what's crazy? If Ron Johnson is like, no, this is going to do bad things to the deficit. Like Ron Johnson?
They don't care. They care about these tax breaks. They care about marginalizing already marginalized communities. And unfortunately, the majority of those people they're about to marginalize, guess what they did? Guess what they did?
Voted for him.
They're getting
what they voted for.
Baby being served up on a platter.
Yeah. I just thought it was really wild that even Ron Johnson is like, this is bad. I've always thought of him as like pretty hardcore MAGA. So
because at the end of the day, guess what? Those folks know that those Congress people know, especially House Representatives. I'm not clear why they're moving forward with this because they're going to have to come home to their constituents and then try to duck and dodge and run and not hold any town halls, right? To not have to justify and explain what they are doing.
Well, I mean, so far they're getting away with it because we have, oh, get ready for this one. We have the lovely Caroline Levitt. Just love her so much.
Is the president okay with this bill adding to the deficit?
This bill does not add to the deficit. In fact, according to the Council of Economic Advisors, this bill will save $1.6 trillion. And the president absolutely understands and hears the concerns of fiscal conservatives and of Americans who want to get our fiscal house in order. That's what the intention of this bill is. There's $1.6 trillion worth of savings in this bill. That's the largest savings for any legislation that has ever passed Capitol Hill in our nation's history.
I mean, listen, they have a history of lying since Sean Spicer.
Spicy.
Yeah, they have a history of lying, bold-faced lies. And in 5 or 6 years, we're going to get a book from her talking about her time and how she knew she lied and why she lied. Because again, they're continuing to perpetuate the big lie. They use these very hyperbolic statements. You know, this is the largest tax cut. This is the largest savings in our history as a nation. No.
What I find so amazing is people believe it, and that's why they do it. They know they can bald-face lie because they know the average MAGA voter is not going to fact check them. Is just going to take it as truth.
Yeah. And those folks live in an echo chamber.
Yeah. But they say we do.
Yeah. No. I mean, some left people do. Some folks in the left do live in an echo chamber, but there are many who do not. Many who do not. But this bill's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. I hope the Senate is a stopgap, or that there are some Republican House members who are like, no. Yeah. Especially if they're representing very rural and very poor districts.
Yeah. I mean, when the bill got passed through the committee on Sunday night, it was only 17-16, and the original 4 Republicans that had originally said no, they just voted present. They didn't even go with it because they don't want. I mean, people like Ron don't even want that on their record that they pushed it to the next step.
Yeah, but they were spineless and voted present.
Yeah, no, I'm not giving. Trust me, none of them get cookies. They still get the garbage bell. But I'm just saying, like he didn't even. They were just like, no. So I do believe. I mean, they've got a real uphill battle. Because like you said, there's so many people that are like, shit, I have to go back to my constituent.
And it is very disheartening that they voted present. They put party over country. Because if you had voted no, the bill would have never made it out of committee. Mm-hmm. And because it's trash. It's trash.
Yeah. There are actual nonpartisan experts that are saying that this bill will add something like over 3.5 trillion.
But Caroline is out here saying, oh no, it's going to save 1 point.
It's going to be the best. We're saving more money than, and because she then continued to say, like, the next closest one was like 800 billion, and that's not even half. I'm like, you are just right there, just full face lying.
And I'm just, when did it become acceptable to lie? To lie, to get on a national stage and just lie to people, lie to the American public about what you're doing as government.
I mean, I think there's always been a degree of it, but now,
It's even worse.
Fucking insane.
There's lying and then there's finessing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True.
There's finessing. So, of course, there's spin and putting your spin on things and finessing things. They're getting out here lying, bald-faced lying. So there's always been a history in our politics of finessing, massaging the truth. Like, because when you look at the whole thing in context, yeah, that's not really true about what you just said about this bill.
Right.
But no, this administration is outright lying, outright lying.
Stephen Miller in the Oval Office being like, the Supreme Court ruled in our favor.
And because he said it, guess what? They're going to believe it.
Yeah. Seriously, he's Voldemort. He looks like him. He acts like it. Tell me I'm wrong. There's not even like an inkling of truth to a lot of this.
Not at all. They are just lying away. Just lying away. And I just, this is what our politics, this is what government has become.
I do really think it started with Trump, though.
Oh, it absolutely did. It absolutely did.
I think.
And a little bit of Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
A little bit of Dick Cheney. And now, listen, we'd want him elected. How, where, in what crazy world do we live in?
Yeah. Well, even the first time Trump was president, I was like, I would take 25 George W's over this.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least he's not like just straight evil.
And here we are.
Here we are. With propaganda videos.
Yeah. Propaganda machine. It has geared up a propaganda machine.
And suddenly Trump is rage tweeting about the Supreme Court and how no one likes them.
But you do realize what he's doing. He's like setting them up by saying this. Like he'll continue to repeat it, which for the folks who are listening to that repeatedly, then they'll start parroting that and it will erode trust in our judicial system. So this is how he's destroyed mainstream media. And same tactics, fake news. It's just fake news. It's just fake news. And you keep hearing that and you're in an echo chamber with it, you believe it. And so he's starting to attack in huge ways the judiciary. We've got these activist judges. They're blocking my agenda. They don't want me to do what you've elected me to do, what I have a mandate to do.
Well, and I never, ever thought that I would be like, Red Hood Justice, I'm so thankful for you. But I mean, she was right there questioning the Solicitor General, being like, I'm sorry, you just don't want to, what? You know, like her brain was exploding. What, on Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he put, what, 3 of them in? But, like, Little Red Cape Crusader, I mean, she really pushed back. And I wonder what Trump thinks. I mean,
I also think I wonder if they had it to do over again, would they have ruled in his favor about immunity? Because I believe that's the basis for what's fueling his agenda, because he knows he can't be indicted, arrested, none of that, even after he leaves office. So whatever he does, he's just doing because he has absolute immunity. And I would hope, just as a court case that challenged Roe v. Wade worked its way up, I hope we've got some court cases in lower courts that are working their way up to maybe challenge this thought again so that the Supreme Court has a chance, because I believe they'd reverse it. And I believe they see how dangerous, except Clarence Thomas, except Django.
Yeah, well, that's, I think, truly because of his wife, because she's fucking Cracker Jacks.
Don't even get me started on that.
I'm just
I
saying,
remember those hearings. I remember being can't remember if I was in middle school or high school. And I remember sitting and listening to those hearings and was just like, this is absolutely bonkers. It's bonkers. This is unreal. And how Anita Hill was right all these years later. She was right. When are we going to start to believe Black women? Sorry, I'm on a tangent.
I mean, it's, but women in general, like, right? Like, when are we going to start to believe Hillary Clinton? When are we going to start to believe AOC? When are we going to start to believe any of these women that have been out there screaming? And no one wants to listen. But you're right. The Black women are the least listened to. But we just need to start listening to anything sane.
Please. Yeah. No. Malcolm X said it in the 60s, 50s, 60s. Most disrespected person in America is a Black woman, baby. We're at the bottom of the totem pole. Black men are listened to more than. We're at the bottom.
Judging by the voting record, you really should be at.
Look, one day the folks will learn. One day they'll learn. We're going to keep going, keep grinding. But yeah, crazy.
I mean, it
Crazy.
just gets crazier and crazier. I mean, Trump has just been rage tweeting in the middle of the night. It was like 1:30 in the morning. He's bitching about Kamala Harris paying the, people to perform, and that's paying for votes. And then this morning he's saying, she's going to be investigated and all of these fake, celebrities.
He just continues to throw other things out into the echo chamber.
Yeah, because he doesn't want anyone paying attention.
Exactly. And so that those who are crazy pants, who are ignorant, who don't read, who don't pay attention, they will continue to
drink the Kool-Aid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's spiked with the scariest shit right now.
I mean, it is. I mean, he is doing the absolute most, and it is causing tremendous damage.
All right, friends, we'll bring you more on Friday.
Let's just see what happens the remainder of the week. It's still young now. There'll be more. We know there'll be more. We know there'll be more. Yeah.
All right. Well, friends, we're trying to get to like 100 subscriptions.
Yes, we are.
So help us out. Make sure you share it with a friend. Do all those things. I know you'll hear it all in a minute, but in the meantime, make sure that you stay loud, stay opinionated, and as always,
you can at us later.
Bye, friends. That's a wrap on this episode of At Me Later. We drop new bite-sized episodes packed with news and sass every Tuesday and Friday. So make sure you're following us wherever you get your podcasts. And because we love validation, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, and drop a comment to let us know what you think. It helps us more than you know. At Me Later is an A Collective production, and we'll be back in your ears soon. But until then, stay loud, stay opinionated, and as always, at us later. Let's just get into good old Don Jr. I always thought Eric was the dumbest, and
where'd it go?
Yep, so great at this. Get ready, season 2.
It's loading.
And guys, we're going to be professional and have outlines and be prepared. We won't just wing it, okay?
That's funny.
That's extremely hilarious.
Season 2 of the A Collective begins May 29th. Get excited.
I'm going to get the name right this season.